Good evening everybody, and as always, welcome to the PlayStationGL YouTube channel. This is time for the Formula 7 League. It's that time again, Sunday evening at 8 o'clock, and we've arrived at round 4 at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. A very technical track, this one. It contains 16 corners spread over 2.89 miles, and the race lap record in real life was by Valtteri Bottas this year, 118.1. And it's a track that historically doesn't always provide the best of races, but can certainly provide very interesting races in regards to strategy. And there are still some overtaking spots, in particular into turn 1 after the first DRS zone, and into turn 10 after the second DRS zone on the back straight. And knowing these drivers, I'm sure they'll be very creative in thinking of other overtaking spots as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the grid copes this evening. We've got 15 drivers here tonight. Not the biggest grid, it has to be said, but still a lot of big players from the F7 League all here tonight, and should provide a very exciting race ahead. Now, of course, there was no stream actually of the race last week, as unfortunately I wasn't unable to commentate. So to recap on that quickly, as we get into the early part of qualifying, I'm just going to get just a few things up there. There we go. So yeah, just while we get into qualifying, quick recap on last week's race. So Larkin actually took the race victory at Silverstone last week. He took the win. Second place went to Jonas in the Williams, with the final spot on the podium going to Tomic in the Red Bull. The rest of the points positions were filled by Leon, Steph, Tim Mats, Game Freaker, Frunky, Cowboy, and Patuka. Those were the rest of the point scoring positions, and that leaves the championship going into this race looking as follows. At the top, we've got Larkin at the top on 40 points after an incredibly consistent start to the season. We can see we're on board with him now in the racing point. We've got Leon in second on 25, Powdy is third on 20, and the rest of the top 5 completed by Frunky on 19 and Jonas on 17. And all the main players in the championship are here tonight, all the top 5, so they're all here to try and close down Larkin, who has enjoyed 2 second places and a win in his first 3 races, and is looking very formidable at the moment, as we see him going round the turn 7-8 chicane, now flicking right into this very fast turn 9. Getting the DRS open as quickly as possible. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him there. Hopefully that won't hold him up too much. It's one of the McLarens who's got well out of the way. And he's getting a banker in on medium tyres, I would imagine. In terms of pole tonight, I would expect, from what I've seen anyway, to go maybe into the low 15s, high 14s maybe. That'd be just a guess. But somewhere around that is what I would expect. I've seen drivers posting times in the 15s. From this league, as Larkin does a 1:16.2 as the opening benchmark time. Quickly beaten by Lars, who's straight into the 1:15s. Let's have a quick look. So everyone's out on soft tyres at the exception of Larkin. Let's now have a look with Tucker, one of the reserves for this league, but has actually managed to compete in all of the opening, actually no, the last 2 races. He scored 1 point at each of them. So a point scorer, that's for sure. Someone who's got a fair bit of pace, I believe, Patuka, and he's actually about to go quickest on a 1:15.7. We've also got a new reserve who's racing tonight, and that is AAC Ishida Garu, who's just done their first lap to go into 3rd. Let's have a look further down. We should have Cowboys just in the last sector in the Renault. And heads to the line. What can Cowboy do for their opening lap? It's not going to go quickest. I think they've just actually lifted off towards the line, and they slot it into 5th place. What's Hulkenberger going to do? On 71 again, lifted off just before the finishing line, so obviously not happy with their early laps. to watch Funky now. He's already invalidated. Run a bit wide there. What's Tim Matz do? We'll follow Tim Matz round an air lap. I was just going to say, in Funky's case, of course, won the opening round of his championship back at Austria, but has since then struggled to pick up consistent points. We'll be hoping to turn that around here tonight, as Jonis just goes into second place on a 1:15.8. In terms of drivers I would fancy to do well around here, obviously Larkin has just been up there no matter what track we're at, so he cannot be discounted. I think Hulkenberg is a driver worth noting as well. The track that we've gone to so far this season, which was probably most similar to this, was Hungary, and Hulk took pole there, so I would expect them to be quite quick around here too. Tim Matz a little bit wide into there, didn't quite get the car hooked up into the apex, and then this very just clumsy final chicane. Personally, I've always preferred the alternative layout to this track, what they used to use. The last chicane just kind of breaks the track up a bit and ruins the rhythm, in my opinion, as Tim Matz goes into 4th place on a 16 flat. And we'll now go on board with Leon, who's just starting their lap. Leon's definitely shown tons of pace this season, there's no doubt about it. Just other than that win at Hungary, they've struggled to just hook results together. Things just haven't gone perfectly for them in races. There's no doubt in my mind that Leon is a potential championship contender if they can hook things up more consistently. He's definitely got the pace to challenge Larkin over the course of the season. And there is, of course, still a very long way to go in the championship, so nothing is won or lost yet, despite Larkin's decent advantage at the moment. Leon now braking for turn 10, and then flicking it through turn 11, getting a nose into turn 12. You don't have to follow the apex all the way around as long as you can get the power down sufficiently early. Now turns it into turn 13, nearly ran wide there. And then this chicane turn 14 and 15, and now getting on the power as soon as possible. Just hammer it to the line. Is this going to be good enough for pole position for Leon? It is, and oh my goodness me, that is an absolutely stunning effort from Leon. He's done a 1:14.7 to take pole by a whole second in a grid that should be, in theory, very closely matched. That is an absolutely astonishing lap time. So absolutely well done to Leon for that. That's going to take some beating. There's no question about that. Let's go on board with Ishida Garu, a new reserve in the Red Bull tonight. They're going 10th quicker in sector 1. Still 4 drivers yet to do a lap. I believe Danny may have left and rejoined. Danny has had connection issues throughout the season, unfortunately. Hopefully they won't hamper him too much tonight. But the Alfa Romeo and Haas teams have actually yet to score points in this championship, so Lars and Danny will want to put that right tonight. And I'm a little bit surprised, particularly at Alfa Romeo, because I remember in the pre-season race Lars was actually very, very quick. So I'm a little bit surprised that Alfa Romeo, his hands certainly have failed to pick up any points yet. Ishida Garu's going onto the main straight now, and moves into second place on a 15.5. That's a very solid effort. Provisionally on the front row of the grid. As for Larkin, who's now out on soft tyres, and it shows, definitely shows through the first sector. What's Larkin produced in the middle sector? Again, improving quite a lot. Now just flick it through this quite tricky final sector. Let's go on board with a Racing Point driver. Like I said, they've had a stellar season. Consistency so far has been absolutely outstanding, and they definitely have a raw speed. Is this enough for pole? No, it's not. It's still 4 tenths adrift of Leon's incredible benchmark time, a 15.1, as Patuka improves to a 15.1 as well to go third, and Shoaib goes 4th on 15.4, so times are definitely coming down. And both racing points find themselves in the top 4 at the moment. Who have we got on a lap at the moment who I feel like would be a good shot? Let's watch Hulkenberger. I think it just invalidated the previous lap. Let's see if they are actually going for another lap before we decide what to do. No, okay, they're not going for another lap. Let's follow Lars. As I mentioned before, I do believe Lars is a very, very quick driver. So it does surprise me that they've yet to score any points. This could be the night that changes that. Flicks it through the final chicane. Currently 7th. What does this lap time do for them? It improves them to 6th on a 15.6. It's a steady improvement. Tim Mats on their second flying lap. Still a couple of drivers yet to do any sort of representative times. Proudy, Game Freakers times are definitely not representative, and I probably don't believe Hulkenberg or Proudy's are either, to be honest. And AMS has actually not done any lap time at all, so still a few drivers yet to post lap times that would represent their sort of pace. Can Tim Mats improve? I actually think that was a much better run through here than last time, so this should improve Tim Mats. Question is by how much? Was 9th, moves up to 4th on a 15.2. That's a good effort. Collected points in the last 2 races, Miss Tim. So starting to find some consistency now after a bit of a shaky start. Oh, Leon's invalidated. I was going to say, I know he was going quicker in first sector. I would have been shocked if he'd have kept that going. Let's watch Game Freaker. Looks like he's got a bit of dirt in his tyres, actually. But he's still carrying... Oh, no, he must have made a mistake somewhere. Yeah, that would explain the dirt in his tyres. Yeah, he's gone wrong somewhere, so that lap time won't do anything for him. Howdy pits. And I don't think there's anybody on a lap at the moment, so while we just go on board with Jonas, who's about to start a lap, and I think they've just invalidated it around the final corner. If they have, oh no, I think they might have got away with that actually. Thought they might have invalidated the next lap as well, but no, I think they're okay. Yeah, while we're just watching the Williams for his lap, just a shout out to PSGL's partners, Brutal Democracy. They're an esports organisation that PSGL work very closely with, and they will be providing £250 worth of prize money across PSGL's top 3 tiers, which you can see all take place tomorrow evening at 7 PM and 8 PM respectively. I believe 7 PM for F2 and 8 PM for F1 and F3. So be sure to tune into them. Of course, Johnny's got a massive confidence boost last time out as they have a massive moment through turn 9. That's not a place where you want to have trouble. He's surprisingly still on a personal best despite that. Well, that was nuts. Maybe suggests a bit pointy with the setup. The car wanting to step out there. It's not something you're going to want in race trim. And they've decided to abort the lap. Yeah, I was going to say a massive confidence boost for the Williams team last time out. Both cars in the points, and Johnny's actually getting second place, which was an absolutely fantastic result for them. Much needed, and there's definitely good pace in that car here today. Just need to, well, get through turn 9 without having a heart attack would probably be what I would advise. Let's follow Shoy Brown because he did a great lap. There to move up to 5th. Oh, massive moment there. Just see if they lost or gained time there. They may very well have lost it. And they're still in and around their personal best. If they can find a bit of time in his last sector, could move up. So we'll just stick with Shoaib just to see what they can do. exit through a chicane, and it's okay. Will it be enough to improve? It is enough to improve, but doesn't actually improve in position. What's Frunky doing? Slight improvement in sector 1 on their previous best. Of course, Frunky won the season opener. Didn't really qualify that well in that race either. I believe they qualified outside the top 10 at Austria, but still managed to convert it into a win. So qualifying's not the be-all and end-all, but around a track like this, it's, you know, track position can be quite key here. Overtaking is not easy, and following a car through some of these technical corners is going to be a challenge with the dirty air effect. Well, this is a definite improvement for Frunky, and it's going to move him up some positions. Frunky was 8th, and actually goes up to the front row of 15-1. So great effort there from Frunky to pop it onto the front row. Still 4, no one can get within 4 tenths of Leon's time, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not entirely surprised. That time was absolutely fantastic. I don't even think Leon's going to come back out on track again. I think that's the best they're going to get. Oh no, Leon is coming out again, leaving it till the last few seconds, but they are out again. Larkin's just started their lap, so I'm going to follow. Danny's not on a lap. Hulk is on a lap on the the medium tyre, sorry. As AMS does pop in a lap to go 10th on a 15.9. That is on medium tyres. What's Hulkenberger going to manage on the grid? Was 12. Was 12, stays 12. Massively improves by nearly a second, but still doesn't actually do anything for them in terms of position. Game Freak is on an out lap. Who else have we got out there? We've got Larkin on a lap, currently 3rd. Will want to be at least on the front row to challenge Leon. Will this lap do it for Larkin? Yes, it will. A 14.9. Good effort. Larkin moves on to the front row of the grid. Frunky will not be improving. Cowboy moves up into 9th place. What's Lars got to offer? Still in the, I'd say still in the early sector of the lap. So we'll follow Howdy, who is going to be next person to cross the line. Howdy was 14th, moves up to 12th. Jonas is on a lap, was 10th. This is looking like it's going to be a massive improvement, and it's good enough for 3rd, a 15.0. Great effort from the Williams driver, looking more at home in this league with every passing race, it has to be said. And we've got Lars now, who's also improving. Patuka moves on to the front row, knocks Larkin off the front row as Lars goes 6th fastest. What else have we got? I think there's only Leon left, I think. Don't know. Well, Leon was actually improving, but I think he made a bit of a mess of that final chicane, and as a result he stays on pole. But Larkin actually did a second flying lap. Larkin did a second flying lap and moves back onto the front row. Fair play, I wasn't expecting that. I don't imagine Cowboy's on a lap, but I'll just check. No, Cowboy in the pits. So there you go, that's the grid. Leon takes pole position. And I believe there was even more time in there until he made that mistake for the final chicane. Great effort though. Larkin does go on the front row after doing 2 laps on those soft tyres. Batuka takes 3rd. Jonas takes 4th. Tim Matz in 5th. We've got Frunky in 6th. Lars in 7th. Shoib is 8th. And the top 10 completed by Ishida Garu and Cowboy, with AMS in 11th. Powdy 12th. We've got Danny 13th. Hulkenberger 14th. And Game Freaker will fill the last spot on the grid. Play. It was a very close qualifying session there. It's sort of who you'd expect to see on the front row, but it took us slightly surprising. That was a good lap in qualifying there. Will anyone be able to take the fight to Leon and Larkin? They have looked the class of a field in F5 so far. Sorry, F7 so far, rather. But in race trim, it could be a very different outcome. There will be drivers outside the top 10 that will try different strategies. There can be safety cars to shake it up as well. And we've got drivers who have got points to prove. Drivers who are coming off the back of good results, certainly in the case of Jonas. And we've got a lot more experience towards the back of the field, who may be able to make a different strategy work out for them. But yeah, there's your grid. Congratulations to Leon. But can he maintain that throughout the race? That's the question. That's a key question we're going to find out over this race. Said before, two main overtaking spots are at the end of the DRS straights. I would say potentially as well at the end of the first sector there's a couple of spots there where you can get a move. It obviously depends on your run out of the fast turn 3. But there are spots where you can overtake here. I think there's certainly more spots you can overtake here than you can in real life. So I think we'll see some moves throughout this race. In terms of who could win, I think it's very, very open, to be honest. Although the two on the front row are the obvious two that jump out, I think I still see a lot of people further down the field that could have a say in it. And like I say, you never know. Timing of safety cars, timing of virtual safety cars, strategies can all turn a race upside down. All drivers just waiting now. Waiting for the countdown. It'll be interesting to see. We're only going to have 14 drivers on the grid by the looks of it. It doesn't look like Danny's been able to stick around, unfortunately. Hopefully that's not the case, but it's looking like that is the case. So it will be down to just 14 if Danny indeed can't race. And the drivers will be lining up on the grid any second now. Here we go. Apologies for the fastest lap showing at the bottom of the screen. Unfortunately, that won't go away. So just have to make do with that throughout the race. We'll try and see actually quickly. Is Danny in control of his car? That doesn't look promising. Nah, I think Danny unfortunately may have lost connection now, which is a real shame. If that is the case, let's have a look then. Have a look at what tyres everybody has gone for. Right, so Callboy actually, who qualified inside the top 10, actually qualified on mediums anyway, so he'll be able to start on them. And then everyone outside of that, AMS, Powdy and Hulk are also on mediums, with the exception of Game Freaker, who has elected to start on the hard compound tyre. So those inside the top 10 have to start on the tyres that they qualified on. And we'll go for the leader now as they go on this warm-up lap, trying to get everything up to temperature of the tyres. No, you do not want to bog down on the lights. It's a very long run down to turn 1 here, probably one of the longest on the calendar, if not the longest. So plenty can be won and lost before we get to the first corner. So a good start here is absolutely critical. Just heading around the final couple of corners now. And we are very much into the part of a weekend where drivers will be getting nervous. Worried about that action, worried about the action going to turn one, worried about make sure the start goes exactly as they hope. And it's all about who can hook it up at the start and have the lead down into turn one. The final few cars have lined up on the grid here, and we are ready to go. Here we go. We've got 5 lights. And we are underway for the PSGL F7 Spanish Grand Prix. It looks like a fairly good start from both of the leading runners, but it looks like Larkin might have actually had a slightly better second phase of a start. Is he going to be able to take the inside into turn one? He's going to try to, but Leon's going to try and hang it around the outside. That's great racing between the pair of them, and it's Larkin in the end who has the move done and takes the lead. Fantastic start there from Larkin, just what he needed. We've got a yellow flag further down the order. I think Shoaib might have been caught up in something there, but Patuka is holding on to third. Jonas is trying to go round the outside and can't make it stick, unfortunately for him. Frunke is in 5th. We've got Tim Mats behind them, but that's just the ideal start that Larkin would have wanted. Leon in the end tried his best to hang it out around the outside, but there was just nowhere for him to go as Jonas actually goes down the inside, turn 9, and takes 3rd place. That was brave in the extreme on full tanks of fuel. It looks like Corboy and Shoaib have been caught down, and what's happened here further down the order? We've got Hulkenberger who's gone off the track. It looks like there might potentially be in contact with somebody, but that unfortunately has left Hulkenberger towards the rear of the field. And has he got damage? I think he has. Yeah, he's got damage on the front wing on the left hand side, so that's a disaster for him, and he will have to pit, unfortunately. So an absolute disastrous start there. Oh, and we've got, what's this? This is 2 Toro Rossos. The 2 Alpha Tauris, sorry, going side by side. I think that's Frunke going past Patuka. But is Patuka disconnected? Because he ghosted. Oh no, I'm not too sure there. I don't think so. Either way, the top 3 is as you were, and it looks like Frunke has gone past Patuka into P4. Hopefully that's not an issue connection-wise. But yeah, Hulkenberger's the only one who's had to pick. Corboy and Shoaib definitely lost time, but thankfully seem to have got away without damage. And Leon will be desperate to get that lead back. And oh, wait a minute, he's got a poor exit, and in fact he's just lost 2nd place. Shocking camera angle. But Leon has lost 2nd place to Jonas, and Leon's starts just got from bad to worse there. And well, Jonas means business at the start of this race, already up to 2nd place, and will try and close down Larkin, who's desperate to make a break of it out front. But yeah, not the start Leon would have wanted, and that suddenly makes his attempt to win here a lot more difficult. Shame for Shoaib, but he lost time. He had such a good start to the race. Let's go on board here. We've got Lars here in 7th at the moment. There's a decent train of cars here, all looking around a similar sort of pace at this moment in time. And AMS sticking very well to the back of this little pack of cars on the medium tyre, so the start's worked out very well indeed for AMS. It literally looks, if anything, like Lars is going to come under a bit of threat from Ishida Garu. Is Ishida Garu going to try and move? These camera angles are shocking. Oh, but look at this. He's going to go down the inside, and he's got the move done. Oh no, he's ran wide though. Lars going to come back at him. He does indeed. Ishida Garu looks like he got the move done, but ran a little bit wide there through turn 11. And unfortunately, or turn 12 rather, and unfortunately in the end he had to settle back in behind Lars, just as it looked like he was going to get the move done. But this is actually distance. These lot actually quite far away from the next group of cars, and that means Lars is pretty defenceless here against Ishida Garu, who goes down the inside into turn 1 and takes 7th place. Lars drops to 8th and will be under threat now from AMS as well. Is AMS able to get close enough? Not quite, and in fact, let's actually go back to the battle at the lead of a race now, because Larkin has been pegged right in by the Williams here. Jonas is really enjoying things at the moment. Looks very at one with the car, and Larkin's under some real pressure here from both him and Leon for the race lead. He hasn't been able to break away as he would have hoped, and now he's going to be under pressure, no question about it. Not close enough to try and move down into turn 10, but we'll try and set it up for the other DRS zone down the pit straight if he possibly can. The trick here is trying to stay as close as possible through these very technical, just nothingy corners that ultimately, if anything, make it very difficult to stay close to the car in front. As demonstrated here, he does go into overtake mode. Because Jonas hasn't got an awful lot of ERS available to him now. And he's gonna... No, he was nearly close enough, but not quite. And in fact, we've got to move further down. AMS has made the move stick on Lars, and AMS now up to 8th place, and he's having a very solid race so far. And soon, Powdy's going to be on the back of Lars as well. So Lars' race pace just not where you'd expect it to be at this stage. And he's starting to drop down the order as a result. Let's go straight back to the battle up front. He's free. I mean, Frunky's actually, to be fair, he's actually sticking with them fairly well at the moment. You've got to give him credit for that one. In terms of ERS available, yeah, so Larkin's got the most. Jonas has actually got the least. That's not entirely surprising because he has been on the charge in the early part of this race. Yeah, Larkin's race pace maybe not as strong as we might have expected, but he's doing a job at the moment. And again, can Jonas just get close enough down this pit straight? Pit window is open, but I think that's for a two-stop strategy, which I feel like some of these drivers may try to avoid. But let's quickly go with AMS, who I think maybe have tried a move on the Red Bull Rashida Garu, but didn't quite work out for him on this occasion. But AMS is looking very racy, it has to be said, and will want to try and grab 7th place. Try and keep mostly on the eye on the front. Obviously I'll try and catch anything that happens further down, as Cowboy is in the pits. I wonder if he's collected some damage somewhere, or if that was scheduled. I can't imagine it was scheduled, because I think he started on medium tyres. So I just think it's going a bit wrong for Cowboy, unfortunately. And this is now becoming a four-way battle, because Frankie undoubtedly is in this battle now. They've sort of gapped Patuka, who's in 5th. Somewhat, and oh, here we go. Jonas is in the pits, so he has taken the initiative, as has Frankie, and they're pitting early. After just 6 laps, they are ditching the soft compound tyres, and what will they go on to? I suspect we're going to see some hard compound tyres here. Nope, medium tyres, so yeah, looks like they are two-stopping. Oh, but that's a disaster. Oh no, sorry, I thought for a very split second there that Jonas has been held up in the pits. It's going to be close. He's going to just get ahead of Danny, who is ghosted anyway, so I don't think that'll be an issue. Of course, that removes the one obstacle that was between Leon and Larkin in the first place. So what can Leon do now? He's got just that little bit of clear air, and the answer is quite a lot. He's gained quite a lot on Larkin in the course of his lap. But further down we've got AMS, who I think he's definitely going to try and move here into turn 10. Indeed he is, and he's made it stick. Very nice. AMS up now into 5th place. With a beautiful outbreaking manoeuvre down into turn 10. The lesser seen overtaking spot, but he made it work for him, and on those medium tyres now he's gaining considerable ground over those on soft tyres, and in fact quite a few of them opted to pit Patuka and Ishida Garu have all pitted. And again, there's no movement from the top two. Larkin and Leon haven't responded to the early stops of Frunky and Jonas. They haven't responded to him, which would have been easy to do, of course. They might have panicked and thought they need to cover off these two. They're not thinking about that. Their sole focus is on each other. And unlike the previous two stops, Patuka and Ishida have actually gone for the hard tyre. So maybe trying something very different. Leon looks very threatening behind Larkin, it has to be said. It's going to be close enough. I don't think he's going to be close enough into turn 10. Be very surprised if we didn't see one of these cars in at the end of this lap. Will they both be in? That's the question. I'd be shocked if they both pitted at the same time. But they do. They both pit right now. Surely Frunky and Jonas and Frunky rather are going to get the undercut on them. Tim Matz also pits as well, so the only driver who is still out having started on soft tyre is Shoaib. But he could very well be in this lap as well. In fact, Larkin and Leon have gone, and Tim Matz have all gone for hard tyres, so Frunky and Jonas are trying a very different strategy here. And it's absolutely critical. Oh, Callboy's out the race. Where's that at, I wonder? And safety car's out. So Callboy's retirement has brought out a safety car, and that changes absolutely everything. And I actually think that benefits those on hard tyres. That benefits Larkin, Leon, Tim Matz and a few others. I don't think that benefits those who are changed to mediums. That's a massive blow. What they've wanted to do now more than ever is push hard on those medium tyres when they can, but now a safety car's completely ruined that strategy. The other question is, what will those that have yet to stop do? AMS, Powdy, Game Freaker, what are they going to do now? It doesn't work out too badly for Shoaib. He can just literally pit anyway from softs and probably go on to hards and get to the end. That actually works out quite well for him, really, because he doesn't lose too much ground by doing it. AMS, Powdy and Game Freaker are all into the pits. Even Game Freaker, who started on hards, has elected to pit. As expected, AMS and Powdy have gone on to hards. Game Freaker has had to go to mediums and will almost definitely have to make another stop. Let's see where everyone rejoins. Okay, so we've got a bit of an issue here developed now at Mercedes, because they have the wrong driver in front, in theory. Because of the set timing of a safety car. So Jonas leads, Frunky second as you would expect, but Larkin is third. They've got AMS out in front of Leon in fourth. Powdy's found himself up to sixth, as always, just seems to be thereabouts when chaos ensues. Patuka is seventh. Game Freak has actually rejoined in eighth, but he will have to stop again. I don't think that's done much for his strategy at all. Tim Matz is in ninth, sorry, and then Shidagari completes top 10. Shoaib hasn't... Shoaib still... It makes me wonder, is Shoaib actually still with us? Because that seems a very odd decision not to pit. I know Danny's... No, Shoaib is definitely there. He's weaving about. He must be pitting at the end of his lap. I don't know why he would stay out, in all honesty. I don't think it would benefit him. He's not going to lose that many positions by pitting, and he could then have a tyre that will see him go to the end, perhaps. I'm interested to just stick with him here just to see what he does. Surely he's going to pit. He does indeed. Not really sure why I'm warming up the tyres. Game Freak pits again. Okay. He must have collected damage. That's the only thing I can think. No? Oh, okay. I see what he's done. Okay, so he's got his medium tyres out of the way. So he's run two different compounds of tyres, and now he can go back onto hards and go to the end. I see what he's done there. Shoaib's also gone onto hards. This Game Freak has decided just to go for hards. Track position won't be key for him in his mind, and he will now go to the end of a race on them. That ultimately that ruined his strategy with safety car, it really did. He would have been really hoping to go deep into the race on this hard compound tyre. Lars has picked up a penalty under the safety car for ignoring the yellow flags, so it's just not working out well for him at the moment. And I'll be shocked if we don't see the safety car come in at the end of this lap. Just need Shoaib to catch up to the back of the snake, as it were. And we should be back underway. Jonas will be the one leading the safety car. Let's see. Yep, safety car is indeed coming in. And it's now up to Jonas, who becomes the effective safety car. He can control the pace and elect when to go. He will have to wait a decent while because it's going to take the safety car a while to get through those last technical fiddly corners. And the plan for the top two will just be to go flat out now for as long as they can until they need a new set of tyres. Again, the safety car hasn't benefited them at all, but they need to stay out in front. They cannot afford to be overtaken by any of the hard tyre runners. When will Jonas go for it? That's the question. He goes for it now. And we're back underway here. We're back underway at Spain. So Jonas leads, Funky second, Larkin in third. It looks like a pretty even restart throughout the field, although having said that, Ishida Garu, is he about to make a move on Tim Matz? He is. He's going to go down the inside. Oh, in fact, I thought that was going to lose a position there, but no, it looks like he's going to go down the inside of Ferrari, but thought better of it. In the end, Tim Matz had a very sluggish restart and almost was caught napping there by the Red Bull. It was a pretty even restart, all things considered. What will Mercedes do? That's something I'm interested to see. Will AMS be told to make way for Leon? Will AMS decide to let him through anyway, or will they just continue their races as normal? That's really the question. Total Wolff's going to be massively thinking this one through. Like, what does he do? I can't imagine AMS, you know, someone who's previously driven in F1 before. I don't imagine he'd take very kindly to just moving out of the way for his teammate. And to be fair, based on the early pace here of the two of them, he shouldn't really need to. They look quite similar in terms of pace. The argument could be, of course, that when you're in also closer group together, it's difficult to really show that you're that much faster. Jonathan Funky are pulling out a bit of a lead, it has to be said. Larkin is dropping back slightly. So in terms of drivers that definitely have to stop again, I mean, in theory none of them do, but Jonathan Funky for me are the two that definitely will have to. There's no way they're going to be able to get those medium shock tyres to the end. Game Freaker, for some reason, didn't actually catch up to the safety car. Was he involved? He must have been involved in something, because did he not catch the safety car? That's very odd. He hasn't picked up damage, has he? Just trying to see. No, I think the car's fine. Yeah, very odd one that. He's not, unfortunately, he's not with the main pack of cars. We've got Leon now, just closing in on AMS. What's going to happen here? AMS just takes his line to the corner. Leon showed himself, but yeah, no intention there from AMS to move aside and let him through. But it has to be said, he is actually starting to look like he is quicker than his teammate. This is a very, very tough call now. Question is, if you're Mercedes, what do you do? What do you do? Because basically, if Leon is let through by AMS, it's setting out a statement that Leon is the #1 driver there. And I don't think AMS would take too kindly to that. Seeing here, Ishida Garu's always been quite close to somebody, but just seem a little bit timid when it comes to making moves. This is their debut, of course. We will let them off on that one. I'm sure they don't want to be involved in a collision on their debut. They clearly have some good pace though, which is good to see. Can Leon get AMS here? No, he can't. There really is no intention from AMS to let Leon through. Basically, if you want to get past me, you're going to have to do it on your own accord. I am not moving aside. Okay, so unfortunately just got some news as well regarding Callboy's retirement. Unfortunately his overtake was stuck on, so he wasn't able to turn it off, and as a result he did lose it in sector 3 because of that, so that's really unfortunate for Callboy. Fortunately out the race through no fault of his own, and that is a real shame. Hopefully better luck for him next week at Spa. And Leon very close to AMS. Can he get a good enough run out the final corner to make a move stick, I wonder? He's in overtake mode, he's got DRS on, he's nearly out of ERS. He's absolutely desperate to get past his teammate. And is he almost showing his car as if to say, AMS, what are you doing? Yeah. Obviously, if either of them on the podium, I'm going to be very interested to ask them about this, because this is a key moment in this race, and it's quite clear what both drivers' stance might be on it. Ishida Garu, unfortunately, has had to pay. I wonder if he's collected damage. Let's try and see if we can find out. He's just come back onto the track now. He must have had damage because he was on hard tyres. So yeah, Ishida Garu unfortunately has collected damage, and that has sent him to the back of the field. And it's going to be a hard recovery from there on in. Still, Leon cannot find a way past his teammate. To be fair to AMS, what I would say is he's not exactly been dropped by Larkin. He's just outside his DRS, but not by much. So it's not like he's slow in comparison to the cars in front. But Leon is desperate to get past, and this time could be the time to do it. He goes down the inside, and to be fair to AMS, he doesn't actually fight it all too much. And Leon has got that move done. That was important for him, and he'll be desperate now to chase after Larkin. Leon up to 4th, AMS is down to 5th. Has a comfortable margin behind him, though, to Powdy, who is currently got Patuka right behind him. Meanwhile up front now, just we go past half distance, Frunky is in the DRS zone of the race leader. Like I said, both of those on mediums, so I can't imagine they're going to be too long as they're in the pits. What I imagine is they'll probably have a go for another set of mediums or a set of softs. but that pit stop time they'll have lost will ultimately drop them probably down near the back, sort of around where Game Freaker is. It's for Tucker because he is looking like he's about to go for a move. He's in overtake mode, he's using his DRS, using his ERS, he's absolutely caning it down the straight, and I don't think Powdy's going to have much of a response, and indeed he doesn't. Tuka up to 6th, Powdy drops to 7th, and unfortunately that was all a bit too easy, I'm afraid. Tuka now will try and do his best to close in on AMS. Now what actually will benefit AMS here is that he can try and stick within the DRS of his teammate if it's possible, although he's already starting to lose that. So if Leon can stay within a DRS range of his teammate, that will help drag him along. Paddy's going to be under more pressure very shortly. Tim Matz is right there too. As you can see, his DRS is open, as the game wants to show me. Tim Matz has had a bit of a quiet race, to be fair, but he's joined this battle now. Powdy doesn't look like he's got outright pace, but as always, Powdy's strength is just being in and around the action, collecting the big points when they present themselves. He's already had 2 third places from the 2 races he's taken part in. Oh, actually no, the 2 races from the 2 races finished, sorry. Two third places from the 2 races he's finished, is what I meant to say. He didn't actually finish the other race, but yeah, he always finds himself in and around there just through being sensible. He doesn't tend to pick up many penalties. He's very consistent with his pace, usually very good in his tyres as well. And so although you don't tend to see him too far at the timesheets, he's just someone who's there to capitalise when it goes wrong for other people. As Game Freaker now also pits, he's had a bit of a nightmare, it has to be said. He goes on to mediums, which he will be able to take to the end. Now in terms of the lead between the 2 medium tyre runners at the front and Larkin and Leon, it's not really enough, to be honest. Larkin and Leon are very much in the pole seats right now to get the win. But at the same time, AMS is actually in a great spot here to potentially get a podium, which will be by far and away his best result of the season. So I will want to discuss potentially what happened at Mercedes, and potentially might have not 1 but 2 of the drivers to discuss it with. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Larkin is actually starting to claw back at the 2 in front now. The medium tyres will not be feeling great at this stage. At the same time, Leon is hounding Larkin all the way. Just as I was speaking earlier about Powdy tending to be someone who avoids penalties, he actually picks up one. I might have put the commentator's curse on him there. That is a rarity, to be fair. You don't often see that from Powdy, even at tracks where penalties are usually quite common. So, but I believe that's his first one. I've not seen his name pop up any other time. So, Lars is another one who's gaining a bit of a train behind him. But is Leon here in a position to attack Larkin? He's not really, mainly due to the lack of ERS he has available. If you look at Larkin, he's got a bit more ERS available to him, and that's helping him stay in front, but I have to say Leon looks a little bit faster at the moment. And there's no doubt about it, Frunky in particular is beginning to lose his medium tyres. He's dropping back from the leader and dropping into the clutches of those behind him. further down. Hulkenberg just outside the points at the moment. And there's a three-way battle going on here between Lars, Scheub and Hulkenberg himself. Is Leon close enough on this occasion? Let's go back on board. I think he is, you know. Leon's going to go for it into turn one down the outside. Larkin covers the inside line. Leon's going to try and go all the way around the outside of turn two, but can't make it stick. Larkin positions his car expertly. Ensures that he keeps hold of third place for now. Leon just didn't find a way through there. Game Freak is back in the pits again. He's having a bit of a nightmare, and he's actually, quite unsurprisingly, he's actually called it a day in the pits. So Game Freaker becomes our second retirement from the race. Technically our third, because Danny has been had an AI driving for him for all the race. Look how threatening Leon looks behind Larkin. I get the feeling that at some point Larkin won't be able to defend this. It looks pretty inevitable, it has to be said. As both Jonas and Frankie pit now, so this is a battle for the race lead. Leon has got the slipstream. He's in overtake despite not having much ERS left, and he's going to get the move sticking to turn one. I don't think Larkin's going to be able to defend it. He's not, and Leon takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix, and it has to be said it's been coming for a few laps now. Larkin just hasn't looked quick enough to challenge. Or to keep the lead rather against the Mercedes, and Leon's looked very quick. You can see how much they've dropped AMS since Leon passed his teammate. And now the question is, can Leon pull away from Larkin, or will Larkin be able to hang to the coattails of him? Jonas and Frankie have rejoined in 10th and 11th respectively. They're not too far behind the cars battling in front, so still very good points here on offer for first pair. But ultimately that safety car, well, I say the safety car didn't really kill their strategy. I think the option to, oh, sorry, the call to go on to, well, actually it was a safety car. It should have actually ruined their strategy, because they went on to mediums, but obviously a few laps later the safety car came out, and that kind of ruined any advantage they would have had been on them. Leon does the fastest lap, but I suspect Jonas or Frankie will be able to take that away on the new mediums as they close into the pack ahead of them. In fact, we're going to go on board with Tim Matz, because I believe he's about to do a move. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's actually completed the move, sorry, on Powdy. Apologies, I missed that. But Tim Matz is up to 5th past Powdy. Another move that's been looking like it's on the cards. Powdy as consistent as ever, but just doesn't seem to have a raw speed at the moment to be quick enough to hold up these guys. And as so often with a battle at the front, so you get one driver all over the back of another. When he actually gets in front, he's struggling to pull away too much. AMS, although he's dropping back from the top two at quite a rate of knots, it has to be said, he's not actually being gained on too much by the cars behind him. So in that sense of it, AMS is actually looking in a pretty solid position to keep third place at the moment, but Tim Matz will be looking to change that. He'll be trying to make a move past Patuka down the pit straight. I don't think he's going to be close enough, is he? You can see how much he's gaining, but no, not quite. And Patuka keeps 4th place for now. Let's have a quick look then, as we've got yellow flag in sector 1. What's happened? Oh, it's Powdy. What has happened to Powdy? Oh dear, he's had a spin, I think, coming out of turn 2. Oh, and that's really put pay to Powdy's race. Has he hit the wall at all? don't think he's hit the wall. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think he's actually hit anything. But he's had a spin out of turn 2, and that has really cost Powder. He's dropped out the points now. And, yeah, really unfortunate for Powder. It's very unlike him. That's not the sort of mistake you would expect him to make. Oh, we've got side-by-side action here. As Johnny tries to go up inside Hulkenberger, and Hulkenberger hits that curb too hard. And just about keeps the car under control, but ultimately as a result has to concede the position to the Williams, who is starting to come through the field, and Hulkenberger will find pretty soon that he's got Frankie itching to get past him as well. In fact, it could be as quite comfortable as now. In fact, Frankie is using overtake. Is he going to try into turn 1? He is. He brakes later than Hulkenberger, and he makes the move stick. That's a very, very good move. And Frankie up into 9th place. And he'll just literally try and follow Jonas as they try and get through the cars. That'll be the plan really for them. The top two's pace, I have to say, on these hard tyres is just so impressive. They are pulling away hand over fist over AMS behind them. A gap now up to 6 seconds. And these two just keep pushing each other, I think. Like, we thought before that Leon was being held up by Larkin, but what it appears now is that they're just pushing each other to the limit, and Leon actually runs a little bit wide there through turn 13, and that might give Larkin an opportunity to get the lead back here. Doesn't look like he's actually going to be close enough after all that. But no, I think he's opted not to use overtake, so obviously trying to save it for a slightly better, more clear-cut opportunity. And as a result, he has to maintain 2nd place for now. But look at this, we're going to be going 3 abreast potentially here. As Shoy gets to get past Lars, and look how good on the inside is Jonas. It's worked. I think no, his Lars has come back at him. But that was very ultra aggressive there from the Williams, and ultimately was probably a little bit over ambitious. But he's lost the position again to Lars, but he has got past Shoaib. Hopefully that hasn't damaged any of the cars there, because there was quite a bit of contact. And now it's allowed Frankie to get right on the back of his trainer cars now as well. As Lars actually picks up a penalty as he tries to fend off the hard charging Williams. Surely Jonas here, he's got the DRS. Oh, nearly a bit of wheel banging. Is he going to try and do the undercut here for the exit of turn 10 into turn 11? Yes, he is. And he's got the move done, and Frankie behind them has got past Shoaib. So Jonas and Frankie continue their charge up the field. Jonas up to 6th, Frankie up to 8th, and I get the feeling that's going to become 7th very shortly. As well, you can see just how much more grip those fresh mediums have got compared to the older hard tyres. And surely Frankie's going to try and move. Is he into turn 1? Is he going to be close enough? No, not on this occasion. He opts out of it. Can't really say I blame him. He's probably very much seen what happened with Jonas beforehand, and Frankie knows he can just bide his time here. He knows he's quicker. And he could actually make a move into turn 10 providing he gets the exit out of turn 9 right. So follow them through the chicane. The exit out of here is going to be absolutely key. You can see Lars goes defensive. Frankie's going to try and go right round the outside. Lars does not give him the space at all. Wow, that's very... Frankie's going to try and still hang it round. They're still side by side here to turn 13. It's incredible side by side action, but eventually Frankie has to make way. And to be honest, this isn't really doing either of them any favours. Is it really worth Lars defending this so aggressively? He'll know that Frankie's just on better tyres. And surely now... Well, is he even now? I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. He's going to try and go right around the outside of turn 1. He locked up, but he's got it sticking to turn 2, and in fact that's going to allow Shoaib a run at him as well. So Lars might lose 2 positions here, but he just about fends off a racing point behind. Oh, but Hulk has a potential look into turn 4, but isn't quite close enough. But Frunky has 7th, and Lars now has got massive defending to do from Shoaib and Hulkenberger behind him. So his points position at the moment is far from secure. And in terms of Jonas, he's 3 seconds away from battling Patuka and Tim Matson. We're actually going to have a quick look on board of them. Are we going to, just going to stick with this in case Shoaib has a move up the inside, which he does not. So yeah, we'll go with Tim Matson now to see, can he finally make the move on Patuka, who's been behind him for some considerable amount of time. Can't help feeling if in clear air, Tim Matson might actually be able to make an impression on AMS. He's not got much ERS saved, and that ultimately I think is costing him. Patuka doesn't have much either, but Owen Shoaib has made the move stick. On Lars goes right round the outside at turn 1, and Shoaib is up to 8th, and Lars is starting to slip down the order a bit here. Lars just showed a lot of pace in pre-season, but it just hasn't translated into this season so far. On lap 30 now, can Larkin do anything to deny Leon the victory here? They're just half a second in it between the pair of them. It could come down to penalties, of course. I don't think I've seen their name crop up all that much, if at all, but we'll soon find out at the end of a race, of course. And we're going to go back with Tim Mats. What can he do? Desperate to get 4th place off Tucker, who immediately goes very defensive. That's a very odd line out of the final corner. He's using overtakes, Tim Mats, but I don't think he's got that much of it to use. He's going to try and look around the outside. Is there enough room there? Patuka slams the door shut. Tim Matso's right behind him here. Is he going to try and move into turn 4? He's got the outside line. He's going to have to give him spaces, Patuka. He does so. Tim Matson is going to go try and go right round the outside here. Is he going to make his stick? He's then going to have the inside for the next turn. Patuka is desperate not to give his place up. This is incredible racing. They're going to have to be careful behind them, because Jonas is right there in the Williams as well, but Tim Mats has actually made it stick. That was some fantastic racing between the pair of them, side by side through several corners. Clean racing, fair racing, but ultimately Tim Mats has got the move done and he's up into 4th place. And can he make any impression on AMS in the last few laps? He may just be a little bit too far away. In fact, he's got to be trying to pull away as much as possible, because Jonas is right there now and he's going to be very eager to get past this pair. Jonas has got the DRS, of course both of them will have DRS available to them, but he's going side by side with Patuka into turn 1. He's made it stick. He nearly clips the rear of Tim Mats in the process, but he got it slowed down just in time. And Jonas continues his charge up to 5th place. And we've got the battling going on behind. And Hulkenberger's round! Contact between him and Lars. And Hulkenberger's round, and that ultimately will cost him any chance of points today. That's a real shame for Hulkenberger. He tried to move on Lars. Unfortunately, I didn't quite catch, and unfortunately caught the aftermath of it. But the aftermath is that Hulk was round and drops behind Powdy, and in fact he's only got a Shida Garu just behind him now as well. So right, Larkin, this is coming on to the final lap of the race now, and Larkin is right there with Leon. I tell you what, Larkin might just have timed this perfectly for a go at the race lead. Here we go then, down the pit straight. We've got him coming towards turn 1. Larkin going to the outside. He's done it. What a move on the final lap of the race for victory. Larkin takes the lead back from Leon. He's sat behind him all this time. and has made his move stick right at the last. Larkin, a championship leader, is looking on course, unless Leon can do something drastic. He's looking on course for his second win of a season, and would mean in the first 4 races he's not finished outside the top 2 once. 2 wins and 2 second places, as Tim Mats and Jonas now are going side by side for 4th place. Jonas on those fresher medium tyres, looking to make the move stick, as nowhere for him to go though. Tim Mats locks up in his desperate bid to keep P4. Is there anywhere for Jonas to find a move? Turn 10's his next best bet. It doesn't look like Leon's going to be able to come back at Larkin. He's just too far away. But what about Jonas? Can he make a move into turn 10? There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel banging. Tim Mats will surely... He tries to... He gives him room, but there's just no space. The Ferrari desperately holds on to first place as Larkin takes the win here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Leon in second. He had a penalty anyway, so that would have unfortunately cost him. And AMS comes across the line for a fantastic podium finish. Great effort from him. Jonas is going to take 4th and... No, Tim Mats takes 4th rather. Frunke takes 5th. Jonas 6th. Patuka drops to 7th. We've got Shoaib in 8th. And will it be Powdy? Yeah, Powdy takes 9th, and Lars takes the final points playing position. No, Hulkenberger grabbed it by literally 24 thousandths of a second. Hulk grabs the final point, and it's Lars who drops out, meaning that once again there are no points for Alfa Romeo or Haas in F7 this season. But well done to Larkin. Fantastic race-on battle between him and Leon, and a credit as well to AMS getting on the podium. I will try and invite the podium sitters into the stream, so once I've got the classified race results up, you bear with me one moment. I'll try and hear some words from those on the podium. Be interesting to hear their thoughts on that race. In terms of my driver of the day, I'm actually going to give it to AMS. I think he did an absolutely stellar job from after qualifying just outside the top 10, and ultimately drove a very good race. The safety car worked out pretty perfectly for him, and yeah, from there on out drove consistently, didn't make any mistakes, and took a well-deserved podium. So unfortunately we won't be able to speak to AMS, but I'll try and speak to Larkin and Leon if we can. Bear with me 1 second. Unfortunately, we won't be able to hear from AMS, but hopefully we can get a few of the others in. And yeah, cracking race-long battle for the win, which in the end came down to, well, actually came down to a penalty, I suppose, but Larkin got the win anyway, and AMS took a well-deserved podium as well, so happy days all round for the Mercedes-powered cars. And I'll actually start with Larkin now, as he's in the chat. If you've got your voice settings just to always share, that'll be absolutely sound. No worries at all. If Leon turns up, we'll talk to him afterwards. If not, then we've just got yourself. But yeah, well done on the victory here at Spain. Just some of your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tough one. By the end, it just seemed to be me and Leon battling between the two of us. I knew that he'd picked up a penalty, so I was pretty happy just to sit behind him for most of the race, but I think on the last lap his tyres were done, so I thought I'd fly past him there. But yeah, the weirdest thing for me was when that safety car came out. I don't know why the two people on the mediums didn't pit then and put some hards on, and then they would have been challenging us at the front. But obviously they stayed on the mediums and then had to fall right back down the field when they made their second stop. I think that was a mistake from them, and it made it a lot easier for me and Leon.
Do you think it's becoming very much a rivalry between the pair of you? You always seem to be right there at the front together.
I think a friendly rivalry. I've raced Leon before in ILR back in the old days. Yeah, it's nice to be winning it, but I wouldn't begrudge him a victory if he wants to get one at some point.
And some points as well for your teammate Shoaib tonight. How much are you focusing on the constructors?
Very little, if I'm honest. I think I was just trying to work it out then, and I think we're still ahead in the constructors. Obviously, it's nice to have another title if we can get that at the end of the season, but my focus is mainly on the drivers, to be honest.
And obviously, you touched on the medium tyre runners not pitting under the safety car. How much do you think the safety car helped you out in that race when you went onto the hard tyre before it came out?
Yeah, I think it was massive in the end. At the time, I wasn't sure how much of a benefit it would be, but then at the very end of the race, my hards were on, I think, 82%. And that was after a good 3 laps running under the safety car as well. If that had been 3 laps of pushing all out, I'd have been definitely in puncture zone, I think.
And just looking at the season as a whole so far, 2 wins, 2 second places. Can't ask for much more than that, can you?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I came into the season saying that I wanted to win the title, and I think it's just about consistency from here on out. I know I've got the pace to be doing it. It's just about not doing stupid things, keeping the strategy right, and then yeah, hopefully I'll be there at the end of the season.
And just a quick look ahead to next week. We're racing at Spa-Francorchamps. How are you rating your chances around that track?
Oh, I've not got a clue, to be honest. We'll see when practice comes around. It's a pretty decent track for me, I think. There's always a chance of some rain, so that might make things a bit more exciting, but we'll have to wait and see.
And are there any other drivers that you're either a little bit surprised haven't done better this season, or are you expecting more from?
It's weird, the only person in the whole league I've ever raced before is Leon, so I've got no idea what the expectations should be for anybody else. So it's quite good for me. It's quite fun to race against some new drivers, and it's been enjoyable so far.
And I don't know how much you're aware of this calendar as a whole, but are there any tracks that you're really looking forward to?
I mean, looking at it, it's a pretty alright calendar for me, to be honest. Vietnam is one that I'm terrible at, so that will probably be 0 points for me. But every other track is decent enough, so I'm quite happy with how things are looking.
Good to hear. Well done again on the victory tonight, and all the best for next week at Spa.
Thanks very much, and thanks for commentating.
Not a problem at all. It doesn't look like Leon's joining us, and I've already had confirmation from AMS that he doesn't have a mic, so... yeah, so that's it for the stream this week. Massive thank you to everyone who raced, and Larkin as well for the post-race interview. And we'll be back next week for Spa, same time, Sunday at 8 PM. Until then, it's good night from me.